Welcome to the Draft Stack. It has been a long minute since we put out an episode. Back here with Jordan. What's going on, man?
Not much. Is finally back to life, so that helps. So living in Africa, African electricity is not nice on computers. So for anyone who does understand anything about voltage, the voltage coming into my bedroom is supposed to be coming in at 220 to 230, and it was coming in at 340. So that is a lot of electrical current, and
Absolutely.
it fried everything in my room. So.
Speaking of electrical current, the player we're talking about today is extremely explosive. In some people's board, consensus number one, including our dear old Nick, consensus number one pick, upcoming this 2026 NBA draft next year. That is AJ Depasta. Man, if I could just physical tools.
Yeah, so I've got those right here. 6'9" forward going to BYU. He's number one on Draft Stack. He's number 3 for my personal board, but 1, 2, and 3 are all like
locked.
This is the difference between 2 and 3 and 1. Like they're so close together. But he's 6'9" with a 7'1" wingspan and a 40.5 inch vertical for a 6'9" dude.
No shock.
Dude is awesome. Per 40 stats in 79 games per Cerebro, it's 29.8 points on 53, 35, 81 shooting. It's 6 threes per 40 and 7 free throws per 40. He's averaging 9.6 rebounds, 4.9 assists, 3.6 turnovers, so he's kind of turnover prone. 1.9 steals and 0.9 blocks and only 2.2 fouls per 40. So, like, he can defend. That is, I think, what stands out to me the most with him is he's very good on ball and as a switch defender and as a chaser. For someone his size, he does not provide a lot of rim protection. So that's with his physical attributes, you would think he'd have more rim protection. Mm-hmm. But he really is more of a perimeter defender.
Yes.
And he's very good at it. That's what I think is actually probably, to me, what stands out the most is what he can do on that side.
Now, I have here in my notes, he has an insane first step.
Yes.
I do think his frame is going to fill out over time, which is scary because he's already pretty. He has some strength to him already. With the way that he moves. He's aggressive. That 7 free throws is a microcosm because he actually loves contact. He drives with, and he's a little bit different of a driver. He's not a reckless abandon slasher, but he does get to the cup in a way that you're like, what am I going to do with this? So I do think his mid-range is another part of his game that is really lethal. The 3-pointer is here and there.
It's kind of streaky.
Right. But when he gets hot, when he gets going, he definitely can get going. His playmaking vision is not bad, initiates pretty well, especially for considering his size. And then you talked about the defense, high motor, very competitive, definitely uses his size well, can switch between positions as far as guarding and off ball. His hands are active. He uses all of the wingspan to get, cause problems in the passing lane, and solid rebounder for his size as well, and has a high IQ. It's something maybe it's a do for him more than it is like a talking. Like he does it, like it just comes to him naturally, and that might be the part of the reason why he's a consensus number 1 pick. So that and the intangibles, highly competitive, very, very confident. There is no lack of confidence in AJ at all. Yeah. So, two-way potential. What say you?
I really like his two-way potential. I think he's out of the 3. I think he fits the most your idea of a two-way star.
Yeah.
I think out of the three guys who are fighting for number one right now. I will also say, like, we talk about comps. I've been doing the comp clouds for these guys as we've been going through them, and tried to use the Ringers idea of shades of different guys. And so the one you hear a lot with him is the same as Ace Bailey. He's T-Mac. He's the next T-Mac. And I try, especially this early on in this season, to not use Hall of Famers for your comp.
Yeah.
However, if we're talking about him or Ace Bailey, who looks more T-Mac?
It's very much.
He looks much more T-Mac than Ace Bailey did. I always thought of Ace as more of a bigger forward wing guy. AJ's a guard. He has the guard skills. So there is that. He has the athleticism that Ace didn't have the same kind of athleticism. Ace is a very different kind of player to me than T-Mac. I'm not saying that Ace is a bad prospect or that's not. It's just like, to me, I didn't understand the T-Mac comps very much other than body type. The way he played, to me, felt more Rashard Lewis than Tracy McGrady.
I can agree with that.
So,
which is not a bad comp.
No, it's not. It's not. So I ended up higher than consensus on Ace. So like, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying if we're actually doing comps to T-Mac, I do understand the comp. I don't want to use the comp because it's way too early in a season for me to compare a high schooler to a Hall of Famer.
Correct.
So I have Joe Johnson as my main comp.
I like that.
And I also have my third comp for him being Brandon Ingram. So that's more of a lower end outcome. I personally think that he does offer more versatility than Ingram, as far as I think he's a much more willing passer, so he's much more near the other two in the passing area. But the body type, he is a lot closer to Ingram's body type than even the other two.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, to be honest, not only that for me, but I believe one of the comps that I had for AJ was prime Paul George, and not prime as in like prime, ascending prime, like the
so Indiana
years where you started to see him kind of. Now, can he get to that point? We don't know what Paul George was going to be barring injury. A lot of potential. Not that he's not a bad player, not knocking Paul George. I just don't think because of injury he actualized all of his ceiling as a player. AJ has the potential to maybe actualize maybe what we would have seen from Paul George if he had not gotten injured. I'm hoping and I'm knocking on wood that AJ stays healthy. So the two-way potential is insane. The scoring potential is insane. The prowess is extremely instinctive. And I think
I also want to point out, I think Paul George is going to be a Hall of Famer. So that would be another reason that I pulled back on using Paul George as a comp.
Which is fair.
It's not that I don't think it's a good comp. It's that I think it's too early to give Paul George as your comp for these guys. But the same thing, I mean, like, these guys are so good that we're having to have that discussion. You know, like, I mean, the next guy we're talking about is going to be De'Aaron Peterson. The comps that get thrown around for him right now are SGA and Kobe. Like, we're talking about incredible. I think both of those are kind of a little overhyped again for a high schooler who hasn't even played a minute of college. And then for Boozer, you know, Boozer gets Kevin Love and Chris Webber comps. Like, again, that seems kind of early, but these three guys are that good that they're getting those comps.
And what's crazy about that is at one point I hope that people temper their expectations. I heard some comps saying Tim Duncan, which I was like, please pump your brakes, pump all of the brakes, give him a chance to play his game. If the comps that you think are close to that happen, great. But placing him in the same conversation comp wise creates unnecessary pressure. And in my opinion, also creates expectations from him that maybe are not needed as it pertains to his game overall. So,
yeah,
you know,
as far as this is not the Cam Bouger pod, but since we're talking about him, to me, the Duncan, like physicality wise, he's just nowhere. He's so much shorter than Duncan. Like
Right.
Duncan was a legit 7-footer who could
Right.
do all the things that Cam can do.
Right.
So that just makes it so much more unique with Duncan. That was why Duncan was so unique.
And not that he isn't fundamentally sound, but one's nickname is
The big fundamental.
Yeah, like give the kid a chance to come into himself, to come into his game, to polish out. What
I
he wants
do
to polish.
think that Cam's dad made him watch Tim Duncan.
Oh,
You can tell there is an influence on his game from that.
no doubt, no doubt.
So
And
so
pass,
that's true.
when can pass, does have
And can-
passing ability.
Yes.
So
But yeah, back to AJ. To me, AJ, I'm wondering what is going to happen to him at
BYU.
BYU. So where do we go with BYU? Because
See, my overall thought here is if he's a reliable outside threat, he's got player of the year written all over him, like immediately. Do I think he could probably lead the country in scoring, depending on what his abilities are actualized during the season? Maybe he does have that potential, and I am intrigued to see if they use him in a similar system, because he's not a point guard. He's not a point guard.
Mm-mm.
However, I'm interested to see if they use him the way that they did Demon with the on-ball reps.
Yes.
Not positionally, just the playmaking on-ball reps.
Mhm.
So will he be able to do a lot of the things that we're lauding him for right now, and being able to adapt a little bit
I
faster?
actually think knock on wood. I think he's actually going to be more successful than Dimon in that, because
I agree with that. Oh, the talent.
The problem with Dimon is Dimon's clearly the better passer of the two.
Oh yeah.
So don't get me wrong. But the
agree.
problem with Dimon is he doesn't have a handle functional enough to allow him to use the passing effectively.
Right.
So AJ has a much more effective handle.
Agreed.
So he can get, so even though he's a worse passer, he can get to his passes easier than Dimon can. Does that make sense?
I agree with that 100%. So I think that's the thing, though. Will they be able? I mean, now his selection of BYU isn't shocking. Like, if we're being honest here, and then also they just had a prospect get drafted in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so there are some clear like aspects where we know why he selected where he did. He's going to get to play in a system that he feels comfortable enough to play in it immediately. That was the headline decision for him. And I think overall there's some things lining up. I'm not going to say everything right now. Middle of the NCAA season, I'm going to have some comments to make. But I will say that it feels like it's lining up for a particular team to end up with him. I'm going to leave it at that. But he is clutch.
I mean, he's either staying in Utah or he's going to Boston. Like,
those are the only two options.
It just seems fated at this point. So
How that happens?
I have no clue how it happens.
If we consider what's going on with the league and how like draft lotteries are flat, the odds are flat. There is a way, there is an avenue to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But those are seemingly the only two places that make any sense of him landing. Boston makes a little less sense because they still have a roster that they assume they're going to compete with, even though really Brad Stevens, and I hate as I don't know if y'all can see in the back here. I do not love to give Brad Stevens any credit, but he is a master at being able to check contracts and shift his team in transition. It's not about Brad. The point of the matter is I think AJ has some places that he could land, that he's going to have an immediate impact. And to be truthful, this is not so much an NBA pod, but I will indulge, and I think Jordan will enjoy this with me here. Having Ace Bailey and AJ is an interesting thought to engage from two perspectives. AJ's ball handling and playmaking chops are substantially better.
Mm-hmm.
If we've realized what they've been using Ace as currently, just like off the preseason games,
mm-hmm.
as an off-ball scorer,
it's a very intriguing fit.
There are some interesting ways that team could move if they did add him. So,
but even if both of them hit their ceilings, two T-Macs could have coexisted.
I agree with that.
Like they are the kind of stars that it's really a shame that T-Mac consistently had his co-stars injured. Yes. Because he fit well with other co-stars. It's just they were consistently injured. In fact, it probably would have helped because, like, I don't know if you ever have gone back and looked at T-Mac's stats. He is really inefficient, even for the time period.
Yeah.
He's very inefficient. And it just comes down to the fact that he's the entire offense by himself.
I agree with that.
And so
if be healthy, you had all these players that were in and out of the lineup.
Yeah. And so when Yao was healthy, he was efficient. When Grant Hill was healthy, he was efficient. They were just they were never healthy. And so to me, I think if you put AJ, every team in the NBA could use AJ.
I agree. I 1000% agree with that. There's not a team
because he can play on and off ball. Correct. He can play 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Agreed. He is a switchable. He is the switchable, complete emphasis on switchable athlete, two-way player, the mold of what the league wants. Bigger players with much more size who have the ability to guard 1 through 5. That is a calling card that they look for in a player. And he has the size, he has the physical tools for it, he has the acumen for it. So,
and he's going to be at BYU, he's going to put up numbers, and he's probably not going to look super efficient doing it, because he's going to be. It's going to be Archangel offense, to quote what they called Michael Jordan at the beginning.
Which leads me to a point that, and I'll let you finish. He is a tough shot maker, for sure. He takes and makes tough shots. We've said that about other players, but he really does not care about he does not care about the person defending him. He goes at the defender. I'm going to get my bucket, and he just does, and he does. Now, the person we're going to talk about on the next pod, in comparison, you could argue the exact same thing as far as pace and the ability to take and make shots. The pure ability to get to the basket to score in Peterson. So there's a reason why Jordan said that there is a minuscule mustard seed sized difference between 1, 2, and 3.
You're also getting with AJ, the game looks easy to him.
It does.
And so I think sometimes there have been some times where even I catch myself saying, he's not trying. I think he is trying. It's just he moves at that size so effortlessly that it looks nonchalant sometimes.
I agree.
And so he's a very fluid athlete.
I agree with that.
He's very skinny. He's going to have to work on some things. Don't get me wrong. He's not the perfect prospect. But obviously, I'm a Cooper Flag guy.
And we talked about the fact that there were already comps for AJ to Cooper Flag.
AJ's a better prospect at this point than Cooper was at this point. Now, Cooper got a whole lot better at Duke than people realized. Cooper made a huge jump. He was already firmly established as the number one guy in the class. And then he made a huge jump again.
Yes.
But at this point of the year, what AJ is right now is better than what Flag was at this point.
I could agree with that. I could agree with that. And I hope people take that with the context we're saying it in.
Yes. I'm not saying that AJ Dybantsa right now is a better prospect than Cooper was at the end of the college season.
No.
Because for one thing, Cooper couldn't shoot before he went to Duke. And then it was just like, yeah, so that's just not a weakness for him by the end of the year. Like, it's just like, so Cooper was very good at adding things to his game. That is something to me that is a red flag for Dybantsa, is I feel like he plateaued this last year. I don't know that he got better this last year. Peterson got better this last year. Bouger got better this year.
Agreed.
AJ, I feel like plateaued, but AJ was already so far ahead of them that they caught up to him. They didn't pass him. And so that's where we have to figure out. That's where we have to figure out, is AJ plateauing? And so are we seeing Brandon Ingram, where, he just matured really quickly, was really good, and then his peers caught up to him? Or are we seeing someone who the game was so easy for him that he needed to move to the next level for a challenge?
And you know what? That leads me to a perfect transition into ceiling or floor potential.
Mm-hmm.
What I have here is franchise cornerstone or two-way star potential. I'm not saying that those things can't happen simultaneously. Mm-hmm. I am saying there is franchise cornerstone as the ceiling, and if he doesn't reach that, he's still a two-way star for whatever team he lands on. There is no floor low. Like there isn't a drop off, really. There is.
I mean, again, the worst he's going to be is a Brandon Ingram. Like, that's still a pretty stinking good player.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. 1,000%.
In fact, I think he might maybe not be the mid-range scorer that Ingram, in the worst case scenario. Maybe he doesn't get as good at scoring as Ingram, but he's going to make up for it in the passing and the defense.
I agree.
So he's going to be a Brandon Ingram level player.
And I do think there is an approach difference between those two players for sure.
Mm-hmm.
As far as approach to the game, the ability to impose their will on the game. There are opposites in that way. The demeanor is the same, in my opinion. The demeanor is the same. The approach from that demeanor is different.
I also think the approach of AJ does view basketball as a team sport. AJ is an incredible one-on-one player. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But he does view basketball as a team sport. So that is, I think, what separated both Grant Hill and Joe Johnson from others of that. Like, that's what separates them from Michael Beasley, for instance. So Michael Beasley is just as talented as T-Mac for scoring one-on-one.
Oh,
for one-on-one.
for sure. For sure.
But T-Mac understood team basketball way better than Beasley ever understood.
I agree with you. Having watched Bees go here, go to Miami, and his ability to score, his scoring prowess, what he was when he was coming out of college, leading the nation. I believe he led the nation in scoring.
Oh, yeah. He was incredible.
So I'll say this: if AJ scores the way Beasley does, there won't be any more discussion on who's going number one. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Yes.
And so that will end the discussions for sure. But even if he doesn't, I do think he'll still make a considerable stamp on what. I mean, no team is passing on him that gets the number one pick. I think it's a Cooper Flag situation all over again. Now, I say that gently. because a game has not been played yet. I'm
Yes.
just saying that based on the consensus, to clarify, I believe he can have a similar impact on BYU that Cooper did for Duke. That's I'm talking about impact and the ability to use his intangibles. So really,
this is an incredibly deep class. I think we
yeah.
started to talk about it before, but like my top, do you have Nick's top 10?
I do. I do.
Why don't you read off the top 10?
All right, we'll cover that here. Let's see. AJ is number 1. Peterson is number 2. Darren Peterson. Cam Boozer, number 3. Nate Ament, number 4. Tunde Yesufu, number 5. Jaden Quaidance, number 6. Number 7 is Kareem Lopez. 8 is Caden Boozer. 9, Mikael Brown Jr. And 10, Bennett Sturts, which that's another pod. That's another pod down the line. But I can see.
We are both lower on Sturts, I think, than
right. However, if he's able to follow up his previous season with a even better season, there is a world where he does go top 10.
Yeah. And so I have the same top 10, except for I have Sturts outside of my top 20, I think. I think it's like 21, 22, something like that. And then I have Koa Pete. I have Koa Pete at 8 instead of Sturts. So like they're different players, are in different orders, but Koa Pete is the one that I would switch Sturts out with. And like every one of these guys, we're early in the season, so we're trying to figure out how to do these comps without being ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But like, Cam Boozer, my comp, it's like, is it Palo? Like you're trying not to do a Hall of Fame comp. So you still have to do an all-star. Like, what are we doing here? Like he's so good. Darren Peterson, 6'5" De'Aaron Fox. Like I'm going to say this. It's going to get clipped. I'm going to be in trouble. He's the second most functional athlete I've ever watched. Or I've ever scouted for basketball.
And for clarification, folks, we talked about this pre-pod. There's a difference between functional athlete physically for the physicals with physicality and functional as in the ability to use the athleticism.
And that's what I'm talking. He at that size, I've never seen someone so fast at that size. You talked about AJ Demancia's like quick first steps. He does. He has a quick first step. Darren Peterson's on his third step by the time AJ's done with his first step. Like it's insane watching Peterson. Michael Brown, like he's a legit point guard who also has hops. So it's just like if Mike Bibby had a pogo stick or something. I don't know. Like I don't have a great comp for him. Like Townday is trying to be Ant. Like that's like he's literally wears the sleeve and like he's trying to be Ant. I'm not saying it's successful, but that is who he's trying to be. Jaden Quintance, very Bam-like, like it's poor man's Bam. Nate Ament, I have, he's getting KD comparisons. I think those are,
and I need people
I pump those brakes. I think he's Tayshaun Prince. Every team in the NBA would be drooling to get Tayshaun Prince.
I agree. There we go. I agree.
Okay, I think he's Tayshaun Prince. He's going to fit on any team. If we had to guess who, see, to me, Ament, I think has the highest floor. And I think the floor is so much more intriguing than his ceiling. I think there's, the 2% outcome that he becomes KD. There's this ginormous chance that he's Tayshaun Prince.
which is not bad.
Tayshaun Prince was a 12-year starter in the league, like champion, almost multi-time champion, right? Like within a game of being a multi-time champion, significantly a huge part of that. Like I don't know, like he's awesome. So, and this is us trying to still be, pumping the brakes on some of these comps. Like these guys are awesome for high school.
Agreed.
So let's see what they do in college, man. I'm so excited. This last year's class fell off really quick. After Harper and Bailey, it started to fall off really quick. And this class is deep.
It is.
There is so much more fun in the late.
We haven't even started talking about Dash Daniels yet.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Magoo. We didn't talk about Todd Pettiford. Woo! I love Todd.
Stojakovic,
Darius Acuff, Yaxel Lindenberg. There's a ton of talent in this class.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's probably a great way to end the pod. Is just like, we're excited for this year. Like there are so many good things.
Agreed. And a lot of what bolsters that is the returners that went back to school, who I'm intrigued to see how do they differentiate what player they were before they had draft combine experience versus now after experiencing that, knowing what it is that they need to do as a player to be in that top 15, top 20 conversation. As players. Again, we're next cover play. We're giving you a heads up here. We're covering Darian Peterson next, and there's so much to cover on him. I heard some D-Wade comps. I'm telling people to pump the brakes on that. Even
we're gonna talk about Comp Cloud with him because I think he's very unique. And so people are comparing him to unique talents.
Agreed.
And so that's what's going on. And if he can live up to his potential, he is, I'll just say it, he is an association changing guard, not a franchise changing guard. He's an association changing guard if he can live up to his potential.
I can't think of a better way to end the pod. Folks, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. We love talking hoops. Catch you next time on Draft Stack. Peace.
See ya.